Hello, this is Joshua from Vasilia TV. This will be a time to show you evidence of election rigging in Korea and demonstrate it for you. Election rigging in Korea is carried out in the following complex ways. But to briefly summarize, it can be divided into two types: hacking manipulation and fake ballot manipulation. In this lesson, we will analyze the manipulation of creating and inserting fake ballots. First, let me show you a normal ballot. Real ballots are printed on roll paper like this. Originally, a normal ballot paper looked like this. This is a roll printer. It can be used as an Epson printer or as an inkjet printer. A normal ballot paper looks like this. You can understand it like this. This is how the ballot comes to the front. This is how it comes forward. A roll of paper goes in the back. And it has an internal structure where ballots are printed one by one and cut automatically. This photo shows a ballot box at a polling place. I ran a simulation. I matched the number of people who voted for Yonsugu, Incheon. It's quite heavy. You guys look inside this ballot box. You might be surprised, but it is quite heavy. The lowest part weighs about 30 kilograms. The claim that it won't be wrinkled because I didn't fold it is entirely false. It's all wrong. You should understand it this way. This is a photo taken at the vote counting site. This crumpled ballot is the real ballot. However, at the vote counting site and the recount site, there are many ballots that are not crumpled or folded. This is a ballot that has never been folded or wrinkled. This ballot paper, it's all fake. This is a photo comparing a crumpled ballot and a stiff fake ballot. I'll show it to you too. I'm going to show you two overlapping like this. The one you see on the right is a stiff, fake ballot. The one on the left is the real ballot. But have you never seen a proportional ballot? I made a mock proportional ballot like this. This stiff thing is a real ballot. Proportional voting cannot now be recounted. I think the reason why proportional voting cannot be recounted is because people will think it is too strange if even this is too stiff. Now I will show you the process of creating a fake ballot. First, design a fake ballot. We design and print multiple sheets on this large piece of paper. Because we need to quickly create fake ballots from a large number of ballots, we design and print many fake ballots on one large piece of paper. These ballots all look the same, but the QR code, serial number, and confirmation stamp are all different for each ballot. And by combining the image of the voting stamp, we print everything in advance with the Democratic Party stamp on it. This fake ballot is not stamped later. The printed stamps are printed like this. Ballots designed like this are now printed. This photo is currently being printed on a smaller printer. I ran a simulation. In reality, it was probably printed on a larger press than this. Next is the process of cutting the printed ballot. Let me show you the cutting process in action. Actually, I'll do it on a larger piece of paper, but for now I'll show you this in 4 pieces on A4 paper like this. If you think about it simply, if you cut it once horizontally and vertically like this, you might think it will be divided into 4, but in reality, after cutting it into 4 pieces, each side is trimmed once more to ensure accuracy. For each ballot, the left, right, bottom, and top are trimmed once more. Only then will it be cut accurately. So, let me give you a demonstration of the printing shop. This is now 200 sheets. It is estimated that 200 sheets were cut, and 1,000 sheets were cut at once like this. Let's cut it. It was just cut like this. I will demonstrate the process like this. Currently, I estimate that I cut 1,000 sheets at a time like this manually, but practically automatically. Since fake ballots are made through mass printing like this, many defects occur. Then, from now on, when you print roughly like this, there will be a lot of strange ballots. I will show you that strange fake ballot, and the many fake ballots seen at the actual recount or vote counting site. A paper with a thin piece of paper attached to one side is also called a ballot with burrs. In English it is said to be. This ballot came out. Next, to explain this a little more, if you use the blade for a long time during the cutting process, a gap will form in the blade. The blade is getting dull. In this case, it may be replaced or ground and reused. Because there is a gap like this, it will not be cut completely and some residue will remain. It was discovered during a recount. And 2 ballots were found stuck together. This thing has a lot of adhesive attached to it. Many of these ballots have been discovered. Next, I will explain this symptom. As I mentioned earlier, when cutting, it gets distorted because you cut a really thick sheet of paper at once. To prevent it from twist. It looks like PPT now, but I apply yellow adhesive. I only apply it to one side. So if I apply this, the paper won't warp when cutting. So, there is also this yellow one. The white adhesive is called bookbinding glue. There is also a white adhesive called bookbinding glue because it is used for bookbinding. In Yeonsu-gu, Incheon, a lot of yellow adhesive was seen, but perhaps because they were aware that this was noticeable, a lot of white adhesive residue was seen from the next time. This means that the operation continues to be upgraded. However, it is said that there are many cases where a drop of adhesive is accidentally dropped while applying adhesive in this way. So what happens if you drop a drop? This has now fallen in one drop and spread. This is why the round ballot comes out. And this is the ballot with the yellow foreign substance coming out. This is something that you can now. You may not be able to see it clearly, but there is a yellow residue like this. There is adhesive residue still attached. What do you think of this? Have you ever seen something yellow like this when writing a tax invoice or notepad? You can think of it like this. It's the same ingredients. However, when I checked this ingredient, it could never come out of an ink-based printer because it is an advanced vote. When I analyzed this ingredient, I found out that it is a paste used only in printing shops used by the printing shop. It would have been truly tremendous evidence, but unfortunately, the evidence I am introducing now is not in actual form. It's all gone. Next, many ballots with edges attached at the top or bottom were found at the vote counting site. At the recount site, tens of thousands of copies were released. This would never happen in a normal voting process. It's like this. It's like this. It's stuck like this. When you look at this on the internet, you think, how can something like this come out just by looking at one page? You must have been surprised. However, tens of thousands of these were found at the recount site. Please allow me to explain. Now let me explain why ballots are stuck. So why does this stick? There is a cutting machine in front of here, but it is enlarged into a PPT rather than a cutting machine, so please look at the PPT. This kind of yellow adhesive keeps leaving residue in the process of cutting, using a chemical solvent like benzol. However, it is said that these obstacles continue to leave glue behind. Then, when cutting the upper or lower corners, a little bit of glue sticks and the ballot sticks like this. I think you can take a look. This is also said to be a normal condition that can be easily obtained from printing or tailoring shops. In a normal voting process, something like this could never happen. And just for your reference, what if the cutting wasn't done properly on the Epson printer? You might be thinking this, but in that case, both should show the front side. I guess so, they both have to meet each other, right? However, this also makes no sense because the ballots from the Epson printer are distributed one to each person. Next is me. Let me explain this extremely unfair and infuriating situation. At the recount site, tens of thousands of ballots with edges like this were turned out, and all of them were destroyed as evidence. At that time, No Tae was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and was presiding over the case. You can't see this now, but there are a lot of them. The top and bottom are all glued together little by little like this. There are quite a few things that are glued together, but how I did it is like this, like this, like this. Even though former Prime Minister Hwang Kyo-ahn, who is behind us now, saw it all and pointed out not to do this. They did not listen to the plaintiff's side at all until the end and continued to commit the destruction of evidence like this until the end. Next this is a ballot with black stripes. Thousands of these ballots were produced. Let me explain these stripes. If a fly enters the roll of the printing press, the ink is not properly wiped from the moment the fly enters, and the red color seen below here appears. It's called a dampening roller, or wetting roller, and it's used to clean the ink, and if a fly gets caught in it, it is said that hundreds of pages are continuously producing streaks/lines. This is an actual example of a defective print shop. So what I'm going to show you again is that at the printer. It would have been nice if I could have sampled the actual demonstration, but that was difficult, so I did the same demonstration with a laser printer instead. Because unlike inkjet printers, these laser printers, printing is done with a drum on a principle very similar to a roll in a printing shop. The names are different. Roll drum. The names are different, but the structure is the same. The structure is 100% identical. Have you ever experienced this kind of stripe phenomenon when using a very old laser printer? It's exactly the same symptom. This is never. Was it recount ballot from Osun City? There were thousands of these as well. Next, ballots were found where the left and right margins did not match. When cutting, because a large number of pieces of paper are cut, the upper part of the paper is cut well, but there are cases where it is cut at an angle like this. If you do not use the adhesive properly, it will warp when cut, resulting in defective ballot like this. Why is margins not correct? I will explain to you whether this is clear evidence of election fraud. There is a printer next to it that issued early voting tickets. If you look at the back of this printer, the roll paper is loaded in this way. However, there is a lever here to adjust the left and right margins. By raising this lever, you can widen or narrow this gap. As you can see on this large screen, I fixed it here with a glue gun. So, no paper other than standard ballot dimensions can be entered. Of course, the left and right margins cannot be wrong. However, it makes no sense that the left and right margins of the ballot shown here do not match. So until now, through printing, we looked into various defects in fake ballots and their causes. These fake ballots must eventually be stuffed into this ballot to complete the manipulation. Let me explain how to secretly put it in this ballot box. The screen you are seeing is CCTV from voting storage locations across the country. We manage CCTV across the country in one place. The National Election Commission says it is safe because there is CCTV. However, this centralized CCTV is very easy to operate. Vulnerable to hacking. During this election, CCTV was made public for all citizens to see. However, CCTV that is relayed in this way can also be easily manipulated. I will demonstrate how to operate CCTV. If you look at CCTV, there is a clock and it is broadcast 24/7, so the public can see it. You might think, it's going to be safe. If you look at CCTV like this, you can see people, right? The screen is a little dark now, but a person appears. So, if this is actually a place where ballots are stored, it would be easy to get caught putting fake ballots in there. However, we will show you that it is possible to manipulate it in real time like this. It disappears right away. In this state of disappearing, you can open the ballot box like this and this means that fake ballots can be stuffed. However, the caution here is that there are parts around the clock that cannot be operated, so there is a possibility that perfect operation of this part may not be possible. However, other than this, there are other operating methods. There are 4 more things I know. So, even if we manipulate the CCTV like this next time, I will explain this further. One more way to manipulate CCTV is, we are recording on the first day. This is how to record. Record on the first day and play the recorded video on the second day. Play. Program playback is possible without even a second of error. So the public is wondering if this video is actually a current video. Otherwise, you won't be able to tell at all whether the video is playing a video that was recorded on the first day. This method is more flawless as it leaves no trace of tampering, even around the clock display. Next. This is a log record from CCTV suspected of being hacked in 2020. Repeatedly disconnecting and reconnecting. It is one of the various CCTV manipulation methods. This method is to pause the screen. In the past, in a storage warehouse, it appears that it was used this way when there was no clock. Next, even if the CCTV is manipulated, isn't there an security seal here? There is an security seal, so how can this security seal be manipulated? I think there are people who think that. So I'm going to show you how to manipulate this seal. This seal is said to be a special seal that leaves a residue when it is forcibly removed. This is a special seal. However, there are many similar types of this type. Since it is the same seal, I will show it to you. Firmly attach it like this. Yes, let's just remove this from the right side. If you remove it like this, a mark will remain. Please wait a moment. This is also very hot, so please wait a little while. If you apply very high heat like this, it is possible to remove it without leaving any residue. In this way, we showed that the CCTV that the Election Commission is so proud of is easy to operate, and the security seal is also simple to operate. But it's not just this. There were many cases where the state of sealing or stacking was different. Perhaps you made a mistake while operating a hair dryer like this. It looks like it's gone. So, it appears that the security seal was reposted with a forged signature. If you look, the signatures from the polling station and the counting center are different. This is evidence of manipulation. I'll stop here. Yes, we provided information on how to manipulate elections and presented evidence of election fraud. Revealing the progress of election fraud may show Korea's shameful side, but it is my hope that through this process, election fraud will be eliminated in Korea in the future. It is also my hope that election rigging will be eliminated in the United States and around the world.